Hey guys, Carter here with Patriot Training Center, and today I want to talk to you about Optic Ready guns. Should your gun come Optic Ready, or should you have it direct milled, or are you even going to run an optic? So let's get started. Let's start with, should you buy your gun Optic Ready? So there's a couple pros I see to having an Optic Ready gun. As you can see right here, I have a Walther PDP compact. I'm going to check this thing clear. We're good? All right. So as you can see here, this comes with an optic cover plate. So this is Optic Ready. The only thing that you would have to do is you would have to get a plate that fits for the specific optic that you want to put on here. So you just take this plate off and then put another plate on and then mount your optic directly to that. So a couple things that are awesome about that. You don't have to send your gun out to get cut for a specific optic. If you come over here to say the CZ, now CZ does have an Optic Ready model. This specific one just is not. So as you can see here, there's nowhere to cut it. So you would have to take a CNC machine and cut out a place to put this optic. That can take a lot of time. You'd be without your gun for a specific amount of time. A lot of these machine shops are out, 4 to 8 weeks, depending on how busy they are. So it's definitely a downside to have to take your gun apart, ship it somewhere, have them cut it directly for it, and be without your gun for that long, especially if that's your only gun. So having an Optic Ready gun kind of solves that problem. The other thing that it solves is where that CZ or any of the guns that aren't Optic Ready, you would have to get it cut for that specific optic that you're running. So these Optic Ready guns, you would just change out the plate. So if you're running a Trijicon RMR, you'd put an RMR plate on here, and then if you wanted to switch to a Vortex or a Leupold or whatever, you just get a new plate and mount it. You are, with a direct mill, you would be married to that optic system, which is one of the downsides I see to it. So most manufacturers are making an Optic Ready pistol these days. So as I showed you here, we have the Walther PDP. They also have a plate system. All of these have a plate systems, maybe with one exception of another company. I'm trying to think off the top of my head who does. I think FN, their optic system, you don't have to run plates. Moving on to the HK, this one also has a Optics Ready plate. You would just mount the plate to it and go ahead and rock that optic on there. And then the Glock. So the Glock also, they have the MOS model or the regular model. So the MOS model, same thing. It has a plate cover when you get it, and then you'd take that plate cover off, and then you'd have to use a mounting plate. This specific optic is a 509T Holosun, and I'm actually running a CNH Precision plate on there. The one upside to the MOS models is they do send you with the plates, a plate kit, so you can run, it comes with like 4 or 5 different plates already. With some of the other guns like the HK and the Walther, you do have to order the specific plate that you want. So I do see that as an upside on the Glock MOS models, but let's talk about some cons to the Optic Ready models. So as you can see, this gun already has an optic on it, and I have it mounted up. This is actually my EDC, so I'm not going to take the optic off because it's already zeroed and all that, and I want to have to re-zero it. But some downsides to the Optic Ready mount. You have to put a plate there, which means that you have screws that can back out on you. So you have to worry about 2 sets of screws. So for instance, I can have everything Loctited down on this optic when I'm mounting it to the plate, but I can't see underneath it what those plate screws are doing. So if those plate screws back out, my optic might wiggle, and I could actually shift zero. I've had it happen multiple times at classes where the optic plate was coming loose. So the optic was mounted to that plate just fine, and the screws were nailed in there nice, but the actual plate was coming out, and that would shift your zero. So that is a big downside that I see. Having just one set of screws that I can see, I could witness mark, and like you can see here, I witness mark my screws, so you can see if the screw starts to back out, these won't line up. You could do that with RMRs. So I have a direct mill. This is my Glock 19X. I have this milled for a Trijicon RMR. So this is directly milled to the slide. I had this cut by Culper Precision out in Utah. They cut this for me direct mill for this actual optic. And as you can see here, all I have to worry about, I put witness marks right here. So if one of these screws starts to back out, I can see it before I ever get a zero shift. Well, with the Optic Ready models running a plate, you're not going to be able to see that. So you really have to stay on top of it. Make sure that you're torquing those screws to the exact spec that they need to be, using the right Loctite, and making sure that you're staying on top of that, because that could be something, that could be an issue that starts to come up. The more rounds you put down it, they'll start to back out. So make sure you're staying on top of that. And overall, I wouldn't say one is necessarily has way more pros than the other. I think it's going to depend on your specific situation. As far as direct mill goes, if you have a ton of different guns and you don't mind carrying another gun, maybe the direct mill is the right route for you, because you are going to get that little extra peace of mind on those optic screws not backing out on you. But if this is your first gun, and you do want to have the capability of putting optic on it later, or you're going to run the optic and you don't want to be without your gun for weeks or even months at a time, the Optic Ready solutions are really good for that. You just have to keep in mind that there's a little bit of extra upkeep to make sure that those screws are staying mounted in there properly. But as long as you're checking that and routinely going through, shooting it, making sure your zero is still holding, then I think it's a great option for you. So there's a quick overview on whether you should go direct mill or have an Optic Ready gun. If you guys have any questions about this, ask in the comments and I'll try and answer them as quickly as possible on you. Whether you're running an optic or you're just running plain old iron sights, it doesn't matter if your skills aren't to a level that you need them to be. So with that being said, I have a 30-day dry fire program down in the description below. It's going to take you 10 minutes a day. It's super easy. It's going to get your manipulations right, your marksmanship right, and your fundamentals down. So go ahead and check out that link below, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.